Hello, ladies and gents. Welcome back to Fireside with Lou. I'm your host, Lewis, and today, nobody is going to save you. But that is the best news you're ever going to hear. Give me a little while, and I can promise you, you'll know exactly why. I just want you to take a journey with me right now, quickly. I want you to really think about this deeply. I want to tell you a little personal story of mine. For years, I waited until it was the right time. I waited until I felt confident. I waited until somebody else told me that I was good enough. I waited until someone else told me they believed in me. I waited until I had the money. I waited until my health felt better. I waited until it felt like the right time. Now, I'm sure a few of you listening to this right now can relate and resonate to exactly what I'm saying. And I'm telling you right now, you're never going to feel ready. That is your mind trying to protect you from fear of failure. And then one day it just hit me. It hit me hard in the face. Nobody was coming to save me. I didn't have family I could lean on. I didn't have friends I could lean on. I had nobody. Nobody was coming to save me. And that is when I realized one thing. And that was when, strangely, this light bulb moment went off in my head and completely changed the way I thought about things. I was the only person who was going to save me. It was up to me. It was my responsibility to take action. It was my responsibility to get up and pull myself out of that chronic illness. It was my decision and my responsibility to get up and start the business, to do the thing. It is nobody else's fault. It's nobody else's problem. It's nobody else's responsibility. Now, as harsh as that may sound, and yeah, to some of you it may be, but let me tell you now, it's freeing. There's a sense of freedom that comes with that, because you know that you're in charge of where your ship sails. You know, no matter what, especially when you start taking responsibility and taking action on your dreams and the things that you want to get done in your life, and you start showing up consistently for yourself, guess what happens? Your life will change, because you start showing yourself that you can be the man or woman of your dreams, and you can show up for yourself. That is the most and complete self-love thing that you could do for yourself. Seriously, when you keep consistently showing up and not betraying yourself, not saying one day you're going to wake up and you're going to be like, do you know what, today I'm going to wake up at 6 a.m, I'm going to put my shorts on and I'm going to go straight for a run and I'm going to start the day off, just right, how it should be done in my mind. And then as soon as that alarm clock hits 6 o'clock, you hit snooze 10 times. And what have you just done now? You've told yourself in that bed that you're not good enough. And you've betrayed yourself and you've let yourself down. Now, this is huge, because it's those consistent pushbacks on yourself, that constant betrayal, where you don't start trusting yourself anymore. So subconsciously, on the back of your head, you start saying to yourself, oh, I'm not good enough now anyway, because I've tried that before. It didn't work. I ain't going to try that again. It didn't work. No, it didn't work because you didn't try hard enough and you didn't take action. And you let yourself down too many times. So now your subconscious is telling you, he ain't going to do this. She ain't going to do this. We've tried, but it didn't work. Oh, man. I love tea so much. I'm so British. If you're a Brit, you know what it's like. We absolutely love our tea. I've got just an English breakfast with some honey in it. It's just perfect. So yeah, once you get that realization and you understand that through consistently showing up for yourself, it's powerful. You start to realize this is why all the greatest people in the world have done so well, because they don't let themselves down. When they say they're going to do something, they take responsibility and they take action and they do it. It's a powerful thing. This is why do you think so many people that are into like manifestation and things like that do so well. It's not even about the manifestation. It's about having a thought in your head and wanting it so badly that you won't stop at anything until you have it. So the manifestation is just a word used for taking action. And when you want something so much, you put your blinkers on and you look at that and you're like, oh my God, I've got tunnel vision. I am not stopping until I get that thing, until I have that thing. And then when you have that thing, you set another goal, because that is the pursuit of excellence. It is constantly seeking excellence, no matter what you do. So as soon as you've met that goal, you set an even bigger goal. You set goals that are so high and so difficult that they scare you. But that is how you grow. That's how you grow. So let me ask you now, and see if you resonate or relate to any of this. And I'm sure you do. How many years have you waited for the right opportunity, for the right time, for the money? Oh, it's all right, I'll just save up this amount of money, then I'll do the course, I'll do the thing. Waiting for your health to get better. Waiting for confidence. Wait to be in a better relationship because you were leaning on your partner or spouse too much. You're waiting for permission. You're waiting for healing. You're waiting for recognition. How much of that can you relate to? Because that is the sort of stuff that is always going to keep you stuck. Always. It is always going to keep you stuck, no matter what, no matter how hard you try. When your brain is constantly sabotaging yourself like that, telling you all these lies, you're never going to be able to achieve greatness. You're never going to be able to achieve the things that you want to achieve when your brain is literally sabotaging you day in, day out, telling you all these lies. Because all that is crap. It's you protecting yourself. It's you being too scared to fail, too scared to try, because actually, what if it did work out? What if it did work out? And I start being seen by so many people, because now this thing that I'm so passionate about is being seen to the world, and the world now resonates with it. And now the light's on me. What do I do? That's another thing to think about. These are all subconscious patterns in our brain that protects us before we've even begun. Now I say that you have to take responsibility. You have to take action, because nobody is coming to save you. I want you to think about this. Rescue is an illusion. No mentor, no perfect opportunity, no perfect health, no perfect breakthrough, no perfect this, no perfect that is going to help you. It is just you and your mind and your body that is going to take you to where you want to go. Stop leaning on others now. You have to take responsibility. I cannot stress this enough. So I want you to think about this now, right? I was in the military, in the infantry for coming up 11 years, right? I come back from Afghanistan, I come back from Mali, and I fell chronically sick. I got so sick, I was bedbound. I was diagnosed with complex PTSD and a host of chronic illnesses. I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome. I had all these different problems with me, like mold toxicity and all these different crappy names that the doctors give you. But I want you to understand something. While I was going through that crucible, I didn't really have anyone at that time to lean on. My family are all going through their own crap. I didn't feel right leaning on them when I was sick. So when I was sick and I was bedbound, I was too prideful, I was too egotistical to ask my father for money, because I felt like I was failing. So what did I do? I took out credit cards. I took out 3 credit cards. I maxed them out because I was an idiot and I was sick, so I wasn't working. Put me in so much debt because I was too egotistical. I was too prideful to ask my father for help. I used that money to buy herbs. I used that money to try to buy supplements to get myself out of whatever this was I was feeling. What I didn't know at the time is I was living in a moldy house and the mold was killing me from the inside out. And I was never going to heal taking a supplement. It wasn't until I left the mold, started to really detox my body, really go deep into detoxification, that I started to heal. But the whole time, I had no one. I mean, I could have lent on my dad and my sister and stuff, but my sister, she just had kids and stuff, so she was busy. You know, I had nobody. So again, I'm not trying to sit here and cry about it, because, you know, that has been and done. I've done plenty of mourning about that. What I'm trying to tell you is that you could be in the deepest depths of your own hell and nobody around you is helping you. You have to find something deeper to help you dig in and get out of that absolute hell. Absolute hell. For me, it was this inner knowing, it was this inner feeling of knowing that I was worthy of more. I was on this planet to do more. I don't know what exactly. I didn't know what exactly at the time. But I knew somewhere deep down that I needed to heal to get myself better, so I could start doing this. I could start guiding again. I could start my own businesses. I could start serving people again. I couldn't do nothing when my body was broken. Imagine going from a super soldier. Now, I was proudly one of the fittest men in my regiment. Easily. I won pretty much every competition. I was first in every single fitness, anything. I was just a freak of nature. I was stupidly fit. And when I felt chronically sick, guess what happened? I lost all that. I lost it all. And when it first started happening in the army, I'd get back issues, my knees would go. Guess what? This is when it started. Nobody was coming to save me. Because even in the army, no one gave a fuck. My own regiment, my own men, my own people betrayed me and just left me. They left me. They left me to my own devices for years. I felt abandoned. And by the men that I spent so long on operations with, in Afghanistan, in Mali, I served my country, I served my battalion with honour, with pride, with so much dignity. And what did I get back? Them turning their back on me and leaving me in the fucking dirt. And they didn't care. They left me there. And that was when I realised that nobody is coming to save you. So now I'm out the army, a job that I loved so dearly, and I bled green, and I was born to do. And now I am in Civvy Street, and I'm sat on my bed, and I live at home with my father after living on my own for 11 years. And now I'm wondering what on earth has happened, and I'm shaking and I'm anxious and I'm worried, sick about my life, because I don't know where it's going to go now. And I don't know what to think, because I'm not a civvy, I'm a soldier. And guess what? Nobody come to save me. Do you see what I'm saying here? I know I'm repeating myself, but it is so important. It's so important to understand this. And not everyone is going to be the same. Like I said before, this video is not going to be for everyone, because some people are going to have an incredibly supporting, loving family, a spouse, wife, husband. But not all of us have got that. Not all of us have got that. So what do we need to do? We need to rely on ourselves. We need to pull ourselves out that fucking pit. It's up to us to dig out of the trench that we're in and save ourselves. And then I'm out the army for a few years. I went traveling in Central America. That was an incredible time in my life. I loved it so much. I was traveling the whole of Central America and Cuba and Mexico. Spent like 2.5 years away traveling. And that was when I come home, that is when I really got sick. And I think what it was the contrast of just going from 100 miles per hour my whole life to just stopping. And I think that smack just wiped me out clean. And then, I started to really get my mental health started taking a decline. I started to drink heavily. I started to rely on alcohol every single day. I was drunk constantly. All the time I was drunk. And I started to rely on drugs because the drink wasn't doing enough for me. So I was taking recreational drugs. I was taking cocaine, MDMA, pills, you name it. I was probably doing it, apart from crack and heroin. Just to feel a buzz, just to feel something, because the PTSD and the complexity of the PTSD got so bad that I just felt numb. So when I took these drugs and when I felt the buzz from the alcohol, I finally felt alive. I felt a little bit alive. And I wanted that because I knew deep down there was a part of me that could feel that. But I'd lost it due to so much that happened to me during my time in the forces, during my time on operations, and the shit that I saw and the shit that I did. That was going to scar anyone. And when I was 19 years old, fighting in a war zone, that's not what a 19-year-old should be doing. Let me ask you this question now. Do you know any 19-year-olds? Think about that for a second. Okay, so if you do know any 19-year-olds, what are they doing with their life right now? I can guarantee you now, you're not going to tell me they're at war, fighting Taliban every day, getting blown up, getting shot at, are you? No, you're not. I didn't even have hair on my chest. My body hadn't even formed. I hadn't even finished growing. I still had 19, 20, 2 years of growth left. Crazy. And I come home, spend a few years at home, and then we go straight to Mali, where we are now training forces to fight insurgents. 12-week courses. They'd come in, they'd learn to fight from us, then they'd go and fight. That was the most intense thing ever. It was non-stop. I'm thinking about my journey and how it's gone on so far, and I'm finally starting to take action and do the things that I absolutely love. And there's always been a key motivator for me, and that is to step back into that role that I was in the army, and that is to lead, that's to guide, that's to mentor. And there's going to be people out there that are always going to need a mentor, they're always going to need guidance, and they're always going to need that helping hand. And I know that because I was that guy once. I was that guy before I started to get promoted in the army and lead myself. Years before that, I wasn't that person who was even capable of leading. It took me years to build that resilience. It took me years to build that inner authority. It took me years to build that courage and discipline and bravery to finally step into those shoes and become that leader. Now, I know throughout my training, I was seen as a leader and I was promoted a lot. I was promoted in Harrogate from my chevrons here. I was promoted in cadets, in army cadets, to junior, to corporal as well. So it's funny because everyone has always seen the potential in me, but I've never seen the potential in myself because of the trauma that I've come from. It's always been someone else saying, wow, why have you not done that yet? And it wasn't until I really heard that from my boss in the army that it really solidified my mindset around, okay, I am a leader. Because this wasn't playing, this wasn't cadets, this wasn't training, this was actual real life. My boss saw that in me. He saw that I could lead men in battle. He wouldn't even dare say it otherwise. He wouldn't have said, you're on the next promotion course. Because he knew if I wasn't good enough or ready for it, I could make mistakes. And trust me, let me tell you now, right? Some of the decisions that you make as a lance corporal or corporal in the army, especially in my regiment, in the infantry, need to be made in split seconds. And when that decision is life or death, there is an immense pressure on your head and on your shoulders. You have got men constantly looking to you for orders. As a lance corporal of a fire team, in a section, in a company, you are second in charge of 8 men. It is solely your responsibility to make sure that their administration and they are squared away and they are happy and their morale's high. You are basically the little bulldog. You're running around making sure everyone's fine. Because your corporal is your section commander. He's the one who gives the orders to the overall. Everything always rolls down. So your orders come from your corporal and you run them out and you run to your lads. So you can imagine, it's a non-stop job, especially when you're away. It's your job to run around, cut around, making sure admin's done, making sure the lads have eaten, making sure the lads are happy, making sure the lads have got enough water, making sure the lads have got enough ammo, making sure the lads have got their feet squared away, they're polishing their boots, they're making sure their kit's squared away, they've cleaned their rifles, they've done this, they've done that. Your job does not stop. You are constant. And then, on top of that, when you're on operations and you're doing section attacks, fires attacks, you need to be doing ammo states. You need to make sure the lads have got enough ammo. You need to do resupplies. Your job doesn't stop. It really doesn't. And in the army as well, you're pretty much always doing a job as one up. So when you're on fire team commander's course to get promoted to lance corporal, you actually get watched and judged on your ability to be a section commander too. Even though you're not doing that job, you're always doing one up. Even though you're not being judged for that job, they want to see that you can still lead the patrol as a section commander as well, because there's two appointments. There's an appointment is like a lead, right? So they're watching the lance corporal, so that's what your job is there to do, and you're there to get that rank. And then they're watching another guy from the section, the multiple, be the corporal, even though that's not the job you're actually training to do, but they still want to see that you can do it. Now, imagine that pressure. I want you to think about this right now, right? Come deep with me right now, because you need to understand, right? Right, so imagine this, yeah? This is your section. This is your section, right? There's actually 8 of you. Could be a few more, but for argument's sake, we're going to move that away. And we're going to say it's just Charlie Fire Team, which is 4, right? Or, yeah, 4 of you. So we can move that back over here, right? This is Charlie Fire Team, yeah? And within that section, that part of the section, one of them is in appointment. They're being watched, okay? Now, when I say they're being watched, I don't mean like the guy, the DS, the directing staff, is just like occasionally coming over and looking, right? No. I mean, the man is standing over you, watching your every fucking move. Are you checking your pockets before you move? Are you making sure your magazines are squared away? Are you doing your safety right? Can you even project your voice to command? They are watching everything you're doing. They're watching the way you move. They're watching what you're doing. They're watching whether you're checking your pouches when you move. Everything, down to the minute details. And then, if you're not doing it right, guess what? See ya. Well, not straight away, but they will look at you and they will make sure that they put you in more appointments to make sure you know the job. Now, when I got my first appointment, right, it was such an easy appointment. It was during the day. It was on a section attack, and it was finished within a few hours. And the DS again. By the way, it's not just one DS; it's 2. There's 2 DS because there's a bigger section. So there's 2 DS behind you. So they're watching you constantly, right? And then once you're out of an appointment, that's it. You're fine, right? He said, "Well done. You know, smashed it. Happy days." Now, I didn't get another appointment to near the end. Now, there was guys in my section that were having to do 6, 7, 8 appointments because they weren't really leaders. They weren't ready. But army being army, they have to fill a certain amount per course. So they made sure that they trained them up to scratch. They made sure they were up to scratch. But I don't agree with that. I really do not. I really do not. Because when there's men in that rank that are born leaders, and this man is standing over that man, and he can see that he's leadership potential. And he knows, right, I don't need to put this man into another appointment for another week or 2 at least, because he just smashed that. So now I can focus on these guys who don't really know what they're doing. That takes an amount enormous amount of pressure off of your head. Because you know the score, you know the drills, you know what it's like. As soon as you know that you're out of an appointment, you can breathe. But that don't mean you can slack, because you have to square away these other lads. You have to be constantly working these other lads. Because if you don't, they will fail their appointments. If they fail, guess what? They go home to their battalion and they get looked at like a laughing stock. And you don't want that. So it doesn't matter whether you're in an appointment or not. You are constantly acting like you are, because you're always being watched no matter what. Now, I want to go deep into this one time where I fucked up big time. And I wish I didn't, but I did. And this is where I took a big lesson on accountability and the fact that no one was coming to save me. Right? So I was out of an appointment. We're going to talk about that again. Right? I'd finally out of it. And my good friend from my regiment was in my section, and he was now in appointment, right? So we've just been rolling 12 something kilometers of attacks. Now, I'm not joking when I say this. You're covering something like 24 kilometers a day. It is the hardest thing I've ever done. Easily harder than Afghanistan, right? So you are literally rolling hills, doing attacks after attacks after attacks after attacks, right? Now, we had just come up to a tree line, right? Now imagine this. There's 8 of us in this section. He's an appointment. Somebody else is doing section commander. And I'm just a normal rifleman in the section, okay? So we're just patrolling. So he's gone, which means stop, right? That means stop. So we've gone firm. As soon as he does that, you know it's time to stop and get on one knee. As soon as you're on one knee, and you're there for longer than a couple of minutes, no, it's literally a minute, you know the SOP, standard operating procedure, is to then get on your belt buckle and cover your arcs. Now, there was no directing staff around. So these are the guys that were watching, yeah? I was wondering where they were, because, you know, I kind of got that swivel head when I'm patrolling. I look around a lot because you cover your arcs, right? But they weren't there. And when I took a knee in a puddle that come up to my, like, top of my knee. So I knew, top of my thigh, sorry. So I knew if we're here longer than a minute, I've got to lay in that fucker. I've got to lay in that river. Now imagine, guys, imagine, right? Now my boots are wet, my feet are wet, my legs are wet. And we were there for longer than 1 minute. So now I know that I've literally got to lay in a fucking puddle. Okay? And so it was cold, it was raining, the rain was going left, going right, going Chelsea, going straight to my nose, up my nose, in my ear. I was so depressed, I was so cold, I didn't want to be there. And I did not want to lay down in that puddle. So I didn't. I thought the DS ain't around, they're not going to see me. Okay, so I'm there like that, shaking, freezing cold, laying in this puddle, like on a knee in this puddle, yeah? Oh, fuck. They see me. Everyone else in the section is laying down. What am I doing? I'm on a knee in the puddle. I'm on my knee in a puddle. And the DS has seen it. Blackham, what the fuck are you doing? Straight up to me. What the fuck do you think you're doing? You know you should be on a belt buckle. And I'm like, I swear to you, I thought I was going home. I thought the way they were talking to me, the way they were screaming at me, I thought I was on the next train home. Let me tell you now, I was so pissed off with myself that I was such a little pussy that I couldn't even lay down in a puddle. Because I was too cold, I was too uncomfortable. That was a big lesson for me, because let me tell you, when they dragged me to one side and they said to me this, they said to me, Blackham, you've got so much potential. What are you doing when we're not looking? That hit me like a ton of bricks. It was like that thing in your head, who are you when no one's looking? Who are you when it's just you and your character? That hurt. That hurt because I knew that wasn't me. I knew I fucked up and I knew I shouldn't have done that. So I took that one on the chin and I said to him, I promise you, this will never happen again. And he looked at me and he goes, it better not. Because you've got so much potential and you can't be wasting it over little crappy things like this. When you look behind you and the whole section's laying down covering their arcs and you're being a fucking lizard on a knee because you're scared of it getting a bit wet. You know, and you can talk to anyone and no one's going to want to lay in a puddle in the freezing cold in the middle of Brecon Beacons when it's pissing down with rain. No one's going to want to do that. But sometimes you've got to do the uncomfortable things. But now, what did I do? Well, obviously, he made sure I went back and laid in that puddle, didn't he? He wouldn't let the patrol leave until I laid in that puddle and submerged myself. So now I'm soaking wet for hours. But where I've just been grilled so bad by them, and I felt so bad deep inside myself, I didn't care. There's a part of me, it was like I needed to hear that, to wake up. What was that? To wake up and just see that I messed up and that isn't who I am. And I'm a much better soldier than that. And I'm not going to allow myself to let myself down like that ever again. So yeah, that is a lesson that I learned that you can take something from. Who are you when nobody's watching? Who are you when it's just you and your own character? When you're on your own and you've got to make those hard decisions, when you know nobody's coming to save you, who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Ask yourself that, because I tell you what, the answer that you get, just get up, go to the mirror, look at the mirror and look at yourself and don't laugh, look at yourself seriously and just say, who are you? Who are you? And when you finally work that out, that is when you're going to make profound shifts. Profound shifts. Because it took that day, me crapping my pants, nearly getting kicked out of my promotion course and, you know, letting my lads down to really wake up and realise that no one was going to save me and I need to get a grip of myself right now and take responsibility and start taking action and stop being a pussy. That's what I needed to do. Now, what do you need to do? What do you need to do to make that your life? Do you need to take more action? Do you need to take more responsibility? Is there somebody coming to save you or is there not? Because if there isn't, you need to seriously think about that. I touched on it earlier, but I want to touch on it again, right? Responsibility essentially is freedom. Because think about this, yeah? If nobody is coming to save you, we're not saving Private Ryan, mate. We don't have a full section coming to find us. It's just not happening. It is liberating because the truth is, it's liberating because you know no one is coming to save you, so you don't have to wait for anyone. You can start now. Why wait until tomorrow? Why wait until next week? Why wait until your health is better? Why wait until you've got the money? Why wait until the right time when you can start right now? Right this second. Maybe today isn't the day that everything changes for you. But maybe today is the day you stop waiting for somebody else to change it for you.